Hey guys, so for today's video on empowering empathic abilities, I want to further talk about how important it is to tune into the hologram around you and why it is that many empaths, when they feel powerless to the hologram and believe that everyone's energy around them is influencing them and it's uncontrollable, they will constantly look for evidence to support that. So the nature of the universe is such that it is a hologram, and it will constantly reflect our own thoughts and feelings back to us. The hologram itself is the hologram. We're all in it. But how we perceive it is subjected to us, to our personal experience. So if you have a belief, for example, that you don't have value, then you will constantly look for evidence of it in the universe to support it. And I think one of the biggest blocks that most empaths have, especially emotional empaths, but I think it's pretty true across the board for people who are empathic, is that I don't have so first of all, that my empathic abilities is a curse, that I'm too sensitive and I can't deal with the world around me. So there's the too sensitive thing, and that the world around me will hurt me. So we have these beliefs in our heads, and then we constantly tune into the hologram around us to look for evidence on supporting that belief that we have. And again, as I've mentioned in other videos, part of empowering yourself is healing, allowing real healing to come, and dropping all judgments about yourself and about others. Every judgment that you have limits how you experience the universe around you. It limits the experiences that can come into your life. So if you have a belief or a judgment that you're too sensitive to have a healthy relationship, then that's what the universe is going to reflect back to over and over again. If you have a judgment that, even just a random judgment, like maybe because I'm a woman, I can't make as much money as a man or something like that, you limit the experiences that the universe can give you. And in my class, I talked about this, like, for example, this is just a random example that shows how the universe, things will be invisible to us until we bring the reality into our experience. So my sister, she got a new car, and it's a Toyota RAV4. And I was aware that these cars existed, but I never saw them. Specifically the one she has, never, ever, ever saw them. Then she gets one, and I see them constantly. I see them on the road all the time. It feels like everywhere I look, there's that car. I just feel like, oh my gosh, they're everywhere. Everybody has a RAV4. But the truth is, it's not any more or less than before, but it wasn't in my experience before. I just wasn't paying attention. Again, how many things do we not see because they're not in our paradigm or in our reality? Have you ever noticed when someone introduces a new topic to you, you'll start noticing that, you'll start hearing that phrase or that about that country or whatever, anything that you just sort of piques your interest and it comes into your experience, and then you'll start experiencing it all the time. That's because the universe will reflect back to you your own thoughts and feelings. And often your own, if you have unhealed wounds and things within you that need to be cleared, it'll reflect those back to you too, but you'll perceive them as insecurities, as threats, as, again, the energy or the world around you being sort of, you're powerless against it. So part of shifting this in your vibration as an empath specifically is changing the belief that the hologram has power over you, changing that belief, and changing core beliefs that empaths have, like I will never have a healthy relationship, or some people are always going to hurt me, or people are just going to use me until they get everything they need out of me, and then they're going to just leave because I cease to be useful to them. You have to change those judgments and beliefs that you have in order to experience anything else. Because if that's the energy that you're putting back out in the universe, you are constantly looking for things to support it, because that's what's in your awareness. So it is about expanding your awareness and tuning into the hologram and asking it to show you different things. But it's also about healing, as I've talked about in every video I've done. I just think healing is so crucial and so important, to heal the beliefs that you're not worthy, to heal the beliefs that you are too sensitive, or that's your value. And again, the shady side, the shadow side of being an empath can be actually very vampiric, because as empaths, if you are unhealed inside, and you know that you're good at loving people, you know that you're good at making them feel safe, and you constantly have people saying things to you like, oh, I've never told anyone this before, no one's ever made me feel like this before, I've never felt so real before, whatever, or like I feel like I've known you forever. Typically, people who are empathic, most people will feel, especially if you're emotionally empathic, people feel very safe around you and will tend to share their whole life stories with you. And then that you have the belief that that is your worth, that's your sense of self-worth, so you will drink that. You will drink that from them. And what empaths really do, because you're pulling people's energy, you are helping them sort of, in a healthy empath, you help them bring things to the surface. You help them sort of maybe recognize feelings that they have that they're not recognizing themselves. Or you help them kind of bring toxins to the surface on an emotional level. And again, I think I'm more speaking about emotional empaths right now, but I think this can be true across the board. But if you continue to take, after you bring those things up to the surface, like, okay, I need you to validate that I have worth, that I have value, that's becoming vampiric. You're tapping into their life force, and you're trying to consume them in that way. We do it unconsciously, but they will sense it and feel it, and that's why often people will feel smothered with your love if you do that. And then you are afraid to love anyone because you think, oh, I'm just too intense in the way that I love, and so you back off from people, and you are afraid of having relationships at all. That's what many empaths do, and I've done that myself. So, but the reality is that's just one perspective, and it usually happens because we're all wounded in life, and we all find out what we're good at, and we all try to be loved for what we're good at. So there's definitely a shadow side to being empathic, and it's just really important to understand what it is and notice when you're doing it. Notice when you are approaching relationships and because you need that person to validate you as a person, validate your worth, validate your gifts, validate your abilities, whatever. When you're using anyone in that way, that is when it can become unhealthy and codependent. But when you get your sense of self-worth from internally, from what you truly believe about who you are, and shifting, if you have negative beliefs about yourself, just choosing to shift that, then the relationships around you will choose to shift. They won't choose, they just will shift. Because again, this hologram that we're in is objective. So it's only how we perceive it that represents any truth to us. But we all perceive it differently. So this is just this whole universe is a great learning experience for you, because you can know by how you are perceiving and feeling things in the universe what the health is of your internal life and of your spiritual life. So that's just one thing to be important. That's one thing that's important that you're aware of, is that being empathic has a shadow side, and it's okay. It's okay to really go there. It's not only is it okay, it's so important that you see this, and that you see this tendency, if you have it, and love yourself, and learn to integrate the strengths of this ability, and to shine source love on the weakness side, on the parts that are maybe unhealthy, or where we can lean to unhealthy tendencies. So it's about being aware, and it's about unconditionally loving yourself, and really just accepting yourself for who you are, every aspect of you. So I hope that's helpful. I love you guys, and I think there's like 2 more days left of the video challenge, so hopefully these have been helpful for you. If you have any questions, you can contact me at chakracenter.org, and you guys will have a great week. Ciao.